this is one concept which we all must know. The germ theory versus the terrain theory. So, sorry. So the perspective of how an Ayush doctor looks at a body is different, and how an allopath looks at a body is different. An allopath will never write a prescription unless he finds evidence from proper researches. That is what, or from the text. That's not the case with Ayurveda. From the day one, we are taught by the rishis through the shlokas that this plus this in this condition you can give when the kapham is more, or this plus this when pittam is more. For this constitution, you can go into this combination. If this organ is affected, you can go for this combination. And never was germ a focus. It is only with the Tridosha theory. When Vatam is more, when Pittam is more, and when Kapham is more. So when it was COVID, we understood that it was a Kapha Vata condition which was affecting the lungs. The patient had fever. So we knew what were the medicines for fever and what channels were affected. It was the Rasavaha Srotas which were affected. So for Rasavaha Srotas, you have this and this medicine. So immediately, even a doctor in the last Rameshwaram could write a prescription if it is a new epidemic. Because the Siddhantas, the protocols are laid in the text. So what's the problem? Germ theory, what does it tell? When you get infected by one virus or a bacteria, this bacteria or virus, if it is potent, can kill you. Right? That's not the case with what Ayush system. Of course, we have Krimija Rogas. We have the Vedas which explain about what is Pishacha. Pishitam ashati iti Pishacham. That which eats your mamsam or flesh is called, can be called as Pishacham. Probably these Pishachas are microbes. We are not going into that. Ayush system only speaks about the Tridosha Siddhantas. So when you have this dosha which is in excess or less, manage it with this prescription. So this is what is told. So there is another theory called the terrain theory. So the germ theory was proposed by Louis Pasteur, and the physician or the chemist who worked with him, he was called as Anthony Béchamp, who told that terrain theory is a theory which is important in managing a disease. So what was the germ theory? It claims that fixed species of microbes from an external source invade the body and are the first cause of infectious disease. The concept of specific unchanging types of bacteria causing specific diseases became officially accepted as the foundation of allopathic medicine and microbiology in 19th century Europe. Also called as monomorphism, it was adopted by America's institutions which began to shape near the turn of the century, which we all accepted, thanks to Saraboji in the south. This gave birth to two main industries, vaccines and antibiotics. See, we know that when we make pickles, right, we add preservatives so that you are going to take off the disease-causing agent or the thing which is going to decay it, right? So that is one thing. But what if you are going to cut off the air, like we have vacuum-packed dishes, right? When you are going to cut off this thing which is going to cause the disease, then the host can have its own defense mechanism. The defense mechanism is preserved. So there are different ways of looking at the same germ theory. The opposite way was how Béchamp looked at it. Our bodies are densely populated with microorganisms. This is what even modern scientists tell. We have 300,000 species of microbes in our body. We are nothing but a collection of microbes, right? What inhabits us do not hurt us and is essential to us. We live in a symbiotic, mutually beneficial, mutually necessary relationship with our personal population of microbes. This is what his own student would tell. So there was a struggle between these both, and we will have Louis Pasteur winning, and we have accepted this. So the scientific community has not even argued what could be the drawbacks of the system. For example, during COVID, how much of the population died? How many of them went into ventilators? How much of the population? 0.1% were those who were ventilated. Of 100%, it was only 0.1. So it is always so in most of the diseases. This is the data which we have. COVID-19, symptomatic were 25%, asymptomatic were 75 to 95%. Those who were severely affected were this 0.1%, and 1% could come out with an MODS. Okay. In swine flu, again, 75% are asymptomatic and 25% are symptomatic. Polio, 1 to 5% are symptomatic and 95 to 99% are asymptomatic. So it is the weakest who have the most least immunity. That 0.1% is the one who is getting affected. So which means we all have very, very good immunity. In the whole family, how many of us fell sick and how many of us came out in the whole of your city? Everybody would have got COVID, right? Not that every family had a death. It was not so. There were many deaths which were unnecessary due to unnecessary medications. So dengue, again, 80% are asymptomatic and 20% are only symptomatic. It is only this, we are worried about this 0.1% of population. And so this is what is immunity. This is what is the terrain theory. Our terrains are good and it's only a very small percent of population which is getting affected. It is in most of these epidemics. So the researchers, when we go ahead, we cannot frame research protocols based on Louis Pasteur's theory, but that is how the researchers are being framed now. We have had 170 to 200 research papers from India, from various scientific institutions, with various extracts of herbs, active principles of herbs, which were very active in inhibiting these viruses, which the actual Vaidya does not accept as authentic Ayurveda. But we have no choice but to travel with these principles for now to make a statement with the Western world. It is only because of these efforts that GCTM, Global Center of Traditional Medicine, has come in Jamnagar for Ayush system alone. So this is one thing which as Indians you all have to be proud of, and you have to follow the how this GCTM is going to come up, because this is the first country, because traditional medicine is being practiced in all countries across the world. South America, you have Africa, you have in Australia and England, even in Europe, there are traditional medicine practitioners. But India is going to be the mouthpiece of the traditional medicine, and that is why GCTM has been formed in Jamnagar. So going ahead, we cannot stick on to Louis Pasteur's theory. We have also to examine and Bisham's theory and frame our researches. So I'll be sharing a case of how we treated a COVID hypoxia. This is one of the least hypoxia which we've recorded. We had managed 20 cases of hypoxia from home only through telemedicine. These were all people, friends and relatives, and people who could not get admission in an allopathy hospital. This has been published in Science Direct. So it's the first known documentation of a COVID patient in ARDS, acute respiratory distress syndrome. His respiratory rate was at 44, and MODS, where all his organs were in failure when he reached us. He had fever, body ache, and his SpO2 was at 56. See, the World Health Organization had given the rule that people who had oxygen parameters lesser than 90 should be admitted. While after the 3 waves, even at the end of the 3rd wave, allopaths themselves started telling that from 85 to 90, please don't come to the hospital. So how many of the people were admitted at 89 and unnecessarily treated? God only knows. So Ayush doctors never get carried by the numbers. Even you should never get carried by the numbers immediately. When you fall sick, when you all had a good feast now. If you're going to go and test your sugar levels, it will be at 200 probably. If you're going to take a walk, it will come down by 20 to 180 if you're an old age person. If you're a healthy person, it will be at normal level. So when you're getting old, the sugar levels may spike for a little longer time, and it will come down when you're going to, and if you're going to have a fever, it will show at 220. This is not the time to interfere and take pills. This is the time to observe, and the next meal when you have at dinner should be just soup. It is just giving that direction. If you're going to go and have your tea now, don't have sugar. Don't have biscuits. So this is what the parameter is telling. So when his hypoxia was at 56, we had patients who had hypoxia from 75 to 90, which we had done with just Ayurveda medicines, and they were not put on any ventilators from home. Their sugar level was high. All the LFT and KFT, that is liver function test and kidney function test, during a fever, I record here, will show high parameters or abnormal parameters. Kindly look into the website as to whether there has been a research on what are the changes which occur in the body, in the liver or kidney during a malarial or a typhoid fever. Is there any research which has been done? No. No doctor knows what happens to your liver or your kidney during a fever. There is no research paper. We have made an observation and found that during fevers, may it be COVID or typhoid or malaria, we found that all their parameters, the liver and the kidney function parameters, were high. It was not due to the, it was only due to the condition, and after 3 weeks, when you do the test, it falls back to normalcy. So if you are thinking that your creatinine is high and you're going to go into a dialysis, it's your fate and you have not understood your body mechanism. This point you will not find in any researches. Researches, even in the Western medicine, has not been, we question Ayurveda. Go and question an allopathy doctor what happens during COVID. Okay, nobody knows. This is how. Has any study been documented on hypoxia? You all listen to hypoxia, right? If it is less than 90, you get admitted. Then the doctors made it 88, 90. During all fevers, have you used your pulse oximeter after COVID? It is all sleeping, thankfully, right? Otherwise, you will be having a heart attack every night, day. After sleep, if you're going to take your blood parameter and check for your oxygen, it will show a point lesser. It will be at 97. If you're an old person, it can even show it till 90. You keep recording it every day when you don't have a cold. Not in this season, please. Go to summer when you don't have a cold, because don't get frantic. It will show when you are in sedentary, it will, the oxygen level which is circulating with the blood will be low. Even the allopathists would accept that the oxygen, the blood which is circulating in the periphery, the volume, the oxygen which it carries is different, and the oxygen which is carried by the central arterial system, the oxygen capacity is different. So you cannot even decide with just the pulse oximeter. That was a flaw. This has not been recorded anywhere. We have to accept, humanity must know to accept flaws so that you improvise next time. There is no error that we have made an error. But if you fail to recognize that we have made a mistake, what information are you going to give to the next generation? So this is hypoxia. There is not a single research which has been recorded. It is only with respect to COVID. But then why did you put the parameter that people below 90 should be admitted? If you had a COVID, if you just show that COVID becomes negative after a test, you are done. No. So proper researches have not been even formulated in the Western medicine. Yeah, I'll finish it off. One more point. When you're getting admitted into a hospital, there will be 10 medicines which you are put into your IV, right? No problem, don't worry about it. But has there been any research of interaction between these medicines? Can you be given an antibiotic and a paracetamol? Are you cutting down my voice so that it's not getting published? Because because my videos were removed many times. This is science. Let's be practical about it. There is no research that what happens when you're given a gelusil, an antibiotic, an antipyretic, and an an omeprazole together. There is no research of how 5 medicines can be put in your IV. Then how are you being administered? The doctor tells, I've experienced, don't worry. It's the same way the doctor Sudheer also told, don't worry. Mercurial medicines are given since long time from your own rishis. We've seen practically. Don't worry and take your mercurial medicines. You understand? It is our gurus and our rishis. Apta, Shishta, Vibhuda, that is the first term. They have seen through ages, they've seen through time. They never lie. There is no necessity for them to market or to get an. So you can be very happy about taking a mercurial medicine. Our researchers are working towards it, and in probably a century or so, we'll have fantastic researchers which will come from India. So I'll go quickly. So this was the patient with the oxygen support. He came to us 56. We had to repeatedly ask them, are you in your senses that you're coming to us at 56? Thankfully, the patient refused his treatment from allopathic hospital. He was discharged against medical advice and was given a warning that he may have to book his place in a cemetery in 3 days, but he lasted for 27 days. He's healthy and happy at Palavakam. So these were the observations. 44, 38, 37, 34, 22 were his respiratory rate. These were the treatment protocol. We treated them with heavy metals. Heavy metal is a myth. The word heavy, don't get worried about heavy. The word, okay, even allopathy uses heavy metals very, very safely, as in gold or in cisplantin, which is given for cancer, gold for rheumatoid arthritis. We all don't know. Metals are given like gelusil. Don't take metallic preparations for more than 21 or 45 days. That is common sense. No Vaidya shall prescribe for more than 45 days. We still, even 3 months back, we have an entry from US. people who are getting injured by taking Ayurveda and heavy metals, heavy metallic medicines. Scientific researchers have started reporting these. It is because of either wrong usage or you always have to take some patya or certain dietary protocols. Never pick up a prescription, Ayurveda or allopathy as an OTC. So these were the different protocols. So just going to see the ferritin level, the second level, 936, it was on 21.5, 1, 2, 3, okay, 936, it was on 21.5, see, it went to 1723, 17, and 792 on the day of discharge. So initially, even allopaths were looking at ferritin, D-dimer, IL-6, but at the end of 3 years, they all are practicing friends, they told that they are not going to look into parameters. If you're going to look at parameters when you're diseased, this patient should have been put on dialysis. So it was not required. Look at the CRP. We never worried about the numbers, but you should take care. Like if you are at 300, it shows, the sugar level shows, you cannot be still taking sugar with your tea, right, or rich foods. So the numbers just gives you an idea, but it cannot be the only parameter. So these are the strengths and limitations. I would just have a few minutes. So what is the road ahead? The government is putting its might. It's just that for 70 years we were all sleeping together. So it has made all its efforts. It has made research agreements with US, UK, Australia, and all the Western countries as a, we tell as a Pulayar Suri, right? As a beginning has been marked. So this is just a beginning. We have a much long road ahead. Ayush hospitals, they are being established in AIIMS. Integration is going to be the norm in few years, which means pure Ayurvedic practice, you will find that it would come into a decline. So we need both pure Ayurveda practitioners, pure allopathic practitioners, and integrated practitioners. And researchers should be turned into these directions. And researchers inclusive of Ayush doctors are coming up. GCTM, Global Center for Traditional Medicine, is at Jamnagar. So these are and Ayush University in Tamil Nadu, we've been waiting for 70 years. There's not a single university in Tamil Nadu. We are working towards it. And judiciary, legislative, executive, common man, and Ayush. I didn't want to make an error with common man, CAO. We have to correct the common man there. It was not wanted. So we have to tie the loose ends. And one thing we must remember, the situation of the Ved Patashalas and Ayush system is, we are traveling in the same boat. The livelihood of the children who come out of the Ved Patashalas or the Ayush practitioners is almost one and the same. The patronage which they receive, and when they come out of these Ved Patashalas, when they look at the world which is in front of them, how are they going to make their livelihood? It's the same with both these important fulcrums in our life, and how are you going to contribute to this is very, very important. Focusing Vedic brains to take up visible social responsibilities and in Ayurveda is very, very important. It's one thing which always hurts me. I don't like to treat a person who has studied the Vedas in my clinic, because the Ved Pandits know everything. You know about the Atma and Manas. And what about the body? Why does he come into my clinic? So I always tell them they should also learn about the body, which is Ayurveda. In all Ved Patashalas, Ayurveda should be, we have to teach Ayurveda to the students, and I don't want a Veda Pandit coming into my clinic seeking prescription for, after all, a heart disease, after all, indigestion, after all, diabetes. Everything has been laid in Sanskrit and Tamil, and it is all that we have to include it. So all the four Varnas practice this medicine, and it's high time that the four Varnas sit together and take a decision for the society for their own wellness. Increasing family size, joint family, adoption of kids, and supporting orphanages and adopting orphanages. Why am I discussing this here? All our kids are going to take only Western education, and we have to increase the number of people who think on Vedic lines for our own welfare. So increasing the family size is very, very important, and teaching at least one kid what is Vedic science, may it be astronomy or especially medicine, which we have forgotten, is very, very important. Don't waste your time in old age homes or just home listening to just spiritual talks. Yogi Ram Surat Kumar was a visionary who had very clearly, he had started this Ved Patashala, and Probably it is wife, after 2007, 16 years of break, that he has been reborn here along with Indian medicine. Indian medicine, it is a responsibility of the society to push all your thoughts into this, because for one, I would want the society to be selfish, because when the next epidemic comes, the doors are always open for your children and for the next generation. It is the Ayush which is going to support us. So be selfish and promote Ayush. And funds for Ayush is the crunch which we are facing. This is one more idea which I was thinking of. We are having nuclear families. We should have had 6 children in our home. Yeah, last point, right? 6 kids in our home. So now what we find is we have very, very wealthy, affluent families, right? After 20, after 30, after 40, the parents are all very happy because the children are settled and we are all wealthy. Why does this wealth accumulate? It's because we don't have that 4th or 5th or 6th kid. The excess fund, kindly direct into Pathshalas and for promoting Ayush researchers. It is our responsibility. I would like to finish this with an Ayush pledge. If you're all interested, please join with me. Put your hand in your hearts. I'm proud of, and tell with me, I'm proud of India's rich and varied medical heritage. I shall always put my breath and soul to nurture it. Jai Hind. Thank you so much. Yogi Ram Surat Kumar. Any questions, please? Yeah. You just tell me, I'll repeat the question. Yeah, tell.
One point and one question. The first point is you are mentioning that not only the Brahmins are practicing medicine at those days, it is also well documented by even the Dutch, because the Hortus Malabaricus was written by E.T. Achyutan, who was in Yerava. Okay. He was not a Brahmin. So okay. Even the Dutch, because it was done at the behest of the Dutch governor of Malabar at that time. Second point, what I want to make is, you said that we should ask the government to have more Ayush centers, but it should be the other way around, because I come from a village, I live in a village. If somebody is sick, we are not going to go and seek out an Ayurveda doctor because there is nobody around in 50 kilometers radius. So the British, they changed our medical system and put more allopathic doctors. So it should come from the government, not from the other. No,
let me tell you, the government is ready to do now. What happened in 2020, I would like to share. The government had passed a rule that what you tell is right. The government should do, the mother should know that the 7th child is unwell and give them medicine. What has happened since 70 years is, we never had a mother. We were left into the hands of some other person. So the family and the others have taken over, and how are you going to come out? So you start crying more. You start crying with not, if you're going to cry alone, you will not get it. You'll have to cry a little more with all, you have to have the idea, right? You understand? For example, in Tamil Nadu, this is happening. In Tamil Nadu, I'm not speaking politics, but it's a fact. There is this Sanskrit-Tamil conflict. So, there is no Ayurveda patronage in the state. Okay, they tell that you are all learning Sanskrit. I am a Tamil. I pay tax to the government. I am studying in the college which has been started by the Tamil Nadu government. But I finish my practice and I come, I am told that I've learned Sanskrit. Is it my error? This is how the whole of Ayurveda is. So these are issues. We have to make them understand. See, the governments will keep on changing. So the public should always have this knowledge and should be aware of that there are no differences, and we have to keep, floating these. The media and the public, it is in our hands.
Sure, but for the public who is living in a village, how are you going to inform him? Because for people who are private,
we have Facebook, because see, this is my problem also. I was not given a COVID care center. I had to fight. I am telling that fight along with me. We are all fighting. The Ayush system is fighting. We have got 3.5%, right? 88,000 crores is given for allopathy. Please continue giving 88,000 crores. We have to spend more for the Ayush system. When I ask, I need 10 more people to ask. That's all. That's
sure,
what I'm
please spread your message so that more people can join you, because that's the point.
Thank you so much. Yogi Ram Surat Kumar.